Hey, how's it going? It's your boy ChiefsRaysBolts coming at you with another live stream with KC, A's, Raiders, Dubs, Sharks as per usual. You know the rules, you know the vibes. We're just gonna go over the Stanley Cup final preview. Now we didn't really get around to the semifinal preview. The both of us have lives outside of YouTube, so unfortunately we could not bring that one to you, but it was a good semifinal, and we'll talk about it. Well, for some people, it was a good semifinal, but you had the Avalanche and the Oilers on the west side. That was a quick playoff for the Avalanche. That was a quick send to the golf course for the Oilers there. Just another sweep for the Avalanche, and they continue their dominant path to the Stanley Cup final. I mean, that's 2 sweeps for Colorado this playoff. Out of 3 series, 2 of them have been sweeps. I can't remember the last time I don't even know if I've ever seen that, where a team sweeps twice en route to a final. But, obviously the Avalanche are on a mission. They've just been nothing short of dominant since the very beginning. And then on the other side, you have the East. The Lightning defeated the New York Rangers in 6 games. That was a fantastic series.
Yeah.
And, I've said this before, it's not a Lightning Cup run if you don't beat New York in the conference final. Now, it could be the Islanders, it could be the Rangers, but, the last 4 Lightning conference finals in which they won, it was 2 against the New York Islanders and 2 against the New York Rangers. So, I don't know how we always end up playing a New York team in the Eastern Conference Final, but that's just the way it's been in recent years. The New York Islanders, they go up 2-0 in the series. They win both of the first games at home, and they even take a 2-0 lead in Game 3 in Tampa, and they just fell short of taking a 3-0 lead, and Tampa would just battle back and win 4 straight, which was just a hell of an effort. I cannot get over how hard this Tampa Bay Lightning team is fighting. You've already won back-to-back cups. You don't need to prove anything to anybody other than the 13-year-old Twitter kids who claim that, both of your cups are Mickey Mouse cups, or, all 3 of them are Mickey Mouse cups, because, in 2004, the puck was actually in the net in Game 6 versus Calgary. Oh, and in 2020, that was a bubble. It was COVID year. That doesn't count. In 2021, it was realigned divisions and a shortened playoff, shortened season. That doesn't count. So I guess, unless you're trying to satisfy the kids of Twitter, then, you're not really proving anybody wrong. You don't need to prove anybody wrong. You've won back-to-back cups, but their fight will not stop. They continue to push for a 3rd cup, and it's remarkable in my eyes. It's remarkable to me how you have a dominant team in the first round, like the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you wipe them in 7. Like, I just don't understand the will they have to want to keep winning, but they're doing it. They go and sweep the in-state rival Florida Panthers, the President's Trophy winning Florida Panthers, and then they go down 2-0 to the New York Rangers. Guess what? The Lightning don't give a shit about your Cinderella story. 4 straight after that, back to the Cup final for the Bolts. And now we have a fantastic matchup over here. Now, I will say on the west side, Oilers, we'll go back to this briefly. McDavid can only do so much. All right, I'll just put it that way. McDavid can only do so much, and unfortunately, it just ran out. I don't think this is a surprise anyway. I said Canada teams are so damn weird. You could have put Vancouver, the worst I guess Montreal. You could have put Montreal, the worst Canada team this year, versus Toronto, the best Canadian team this year, in the first round, and somehow Montreal would have swept Toronto. I feel like they would have, because Canada is so weird. On paper, the Flames were so much better than the Oilers. Who cares? Flames won the first game, lost 4 straight after that. And now the Oilers, in turn, go to Colorado and they get swept. So, it's just, when Dallas lost that series in the first round, Colorado was granted an easy path to the final after that because they had to just play a Canadian team. I mean, once you play a Canadian team, they're so inconsistent and weird. I don't understand, but it's just the way that it appears to be. Now, I'm not saying that Colorado didn't deserve the spot here. Certainly they have. It's just, I mean, you play the Nashville Predators, then you play the Oilers. Like, come on. I know St. Louis put up a fight. They sent it to 6, nearly sent it to 7. But, I mean, besides St. Louis, you haven't had to face any adversity in this playoff at all. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts, Casey? I've been talking for a while here. I want to hear what you think about these conference finals.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely think the Lightning have, and you talked about this. Lightning have definitely had a way harder journey to get where they are right now. There's the pressure, first of all. I mean, like you said, like they've already proven that they are the best team in the NHL. Not, maybe you could argue, okay, well, they didn't have the best record this year, but best team in terms of experience, right? They're on the verge of a dynasty. But the Lightning were faced with playing Toronto in the first round, you know, game 7, and then they play Florida, and then they play New York, and they play Florida, the President's Trophy winners, like you said, definitely not easy. And then, of course, New York, a team that, has pretty much been an upset in every round, beating Pittsburgh in the way they did, beating Carolina like they did, and then, of course, winning the first 2 at home at Madison Square Garden where everyone's going crazy. And so the Lightning by no means have had any, handouts. They've had a very tough trip to the finals. And that's why I think, they're definitely going to be prepared. Now, Colorado, obviously, very good team. They were the President's Trophy winners last year. But like you said, their path to the cup, I feel like, has been, I guess it's sometimes hard to tell if they're just playing very, very good or if the teams they're playing are just not very good. But I think besides St. Louis, it was just pure dominance by Colorado. But honestly, I think, looking at these conference finals specifically, I think we learned that Tampa Bay just won't give up. No matter what happens, they could be down, to, the bottom of where they are, and they're going to rise and recover. Did against New York. Their goaltending clutched up at the end of the series. They, it was low scoring games at sometimes. It was very close finishes. But I think the Lightning, they were very clutch. I mean, I think it was the last game in the series where you guys scored with not much time left, or maybe it was game 5. I could be wrong on that, but it was, you would know, like a very, very close finish. And that's just how the Lightning play. They play, they could be down, but you cannot count Tampa Bay out. Now, for the Avalanche, they played the Oilers. And like you said, I feel like the Oilers just run out of steam. They rely on 3 to 4 players, but really main Connor McDavid to take them to where they are. I mean, they had flashes of Evander Kane. Leon Draisaitl had a good series. Smith was pretty good in net. But I think overall, the Lightning have proven that they, no matter what, faced with the President's Trophy winner, no problem. Faced with Toronto in the first round, no problem. Faced down 2-0 in the conference finals, and they win 4 straight. So I think, I'm not going to jump to conclusions, but I think the fact that the Lightning have faced so much already and proven that they can come back from being so low in, morale and, who they're having to play. I mean, obviously, I think Colorado probably is the toughest opponent. I think, you could make a case for Florida, but you guys swept them. And I think we can both agree there's not going to be a sweep in the finals here. It's going to be a very good series, I think. But I think for the Lightning, their goaltending is amazing. They're clutch at the end of series and end of games. And for the Avalanche, they're a good team too. I mean, they're great. They're a very, very good team, and they're relying on very good players. That first line is very good. But I also think the Lightning, we saw it happen. It was a very, very good playoff route for them. That was very difficult. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the Lightning are just, I don't know, man. It's that 2019 sweep. They were so embarrassed with it that they just said, all right, screw it. We're just going to be the best team ever now. So this is the first time in the salary cap era that a team has made the final 3 years in a row. They have a
Wow.
chance to become the first team to win 3 in a row in the salary cap era. And they have to play. I'm going to say it. When the Lightning played Dallas, or when that matchup was determined, I thought to myself, okay, I think we're going to win. When the matchup last season was determined as Montreal versus Tampa, I thought to myself, I know we're going to win. Yeah. And then this year it's a little different. This year I have been saying since the beginning, dear God, please, anybody but the Avalanche make the final on the West side, because if the Lightning somehow make the final again, that's the one team that I am scared of is Colorado. And sure enough, here you go. Thanks a lot, Edmonton and Nashville. Put up a real fight there, didn't you? But the Lightning will play the Avalanche. This is going to be the best Cup final of the last three. Undoubtedly. I mean, like you said, I don't think there's going to be a sweep. And if there is a sweep, then somebody in Vegas is making a lot of money off of that. Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a 6 or 7 game series. I know in 2020 it was a 6 game. In 2021 it was a 5 game. I think this year it'll probably be 7. And I'm not going to go out and say, oh, well, I think the Lightning are going to lose, or, oh, I think Colorado is going to win. It's so damn hard to predict at this point. But the only thing is that, well, with me, it's like Colorado has such a firepower offense. Like, that is what has propelled them this entire playoff, has been their high-scoring offense. People forget about the fact that they're really iffy on defense. I mean, you look back, I want to say it was game 1 against the Oilers where they gave up, 6 goals? I mean, they won like 9-6, but, I mean, you still give up 6 goals. I'm telling you right now, if you give up 6 goals, you're not scoring 6 or more on Vazzy in a game. You're just not doing it, especially in the playoffs. Mike Smith, different story. I think, God, I don't even know. I'm just saying, like, Colorado, they're iffy on defense. The goaltending is mediocre at best. Yeah. And now you have to play the Lightning, who, in my eyes, in the first game or two, depending on how good their opponent is, they'll sit back, they'll play a little slow, they'll play a little sloppy. I think they sit back and they analyze. They sit back and they analyze these other teams, craft a recipe to figure out how to beat them. And I think that's exactly what we saw in the Toronto series. I think the Lightning kind of sat back. They lost 5-0 in game 1. Sure enough, they beat them in 7. I think it was the same thing in the Eastern Conference Final versus the New York Rangers. I think the first 2 games, they sat back a little bit, kind of analyzed the team, crafted a recipe, boom, 4 in a row. They don't give a shit about your 2-0 series lead. 4 in a row, we're going back to the final. I think if I had to bet money on it, I'd say that the Lightning will lose the first game. I think undoubtedly they're going to lose the first game. I think we're going to see them play a little slow, a little sloppy. Now, there's a lot of people that say Avalanche are going to play slow and sloppy because they've had 9 days rest. They're going to be a little rusty. And yes, that's true. But you have to remember, this is a high-scoring offensive team. They're not just going to sit back. I mean, you have so many offensive weapons on the Avalanche, and 9 days is not a whole lot of rest for those guys. But I think the Lightning will lose game 1, perhaps even game 2. Just depends on how much analyzing they need to take. That's just how I see it. But here's the keys to success for the Lightning. Expose the Colorado defense. Yeah. If you expose the Colorado defense, which has not been done besides maybe a little bit by St. Louis, if you expose the Colorado defense and make them pay for it, Colorado could very well lose this series. Because then it's just going to come down to, who can score more goals? And we're talking about Andrei Vasilevsky here. Brick wall in the playoffs. In elimination, in series clinching games this playoff, there's been 3 now. He's only given up 2 goals. In every series clinching game last playoff, gave up a combined 0 goals in those games. Let's think about this. Since Game 6 of the 2020 final against Dallas, which won the Lightning that cup, and then the 4 series the year after, and now the 3 series this year, the last 8 playoff series for the Lightning, Andrei Vasilevskiy has given up 2 goals in those 8 series clinching games. He's given up 2 goals. So, just unreal stuff from Andrei Vasilevskiy. He is just on a different planet with his goaltending. So it's just gonna come down to that. It's gonna come down to the defense and the goaltending.
Yeah, yeah, and I 100% agree. I mean, the thing with the Avalanche, they've dealt with injuries at goal in net. Obviously, they have Darcy Kemper, who I think is returning for Game 1. At least that's what reports are saying. So we'll see how that goes. But there's no denying Vasilevskiy is miles better than Darcy Kemper. I mean, Darcy Kemper is a good goalie. I respect him, in a lot of ways. But Vasilevskiy has a track record of being super dominant, not just in the playoffs, but specifically the Stanley Cup final. You looked in past years, and I mean, yeah, the Avalanche might have swept 2 series, but in the Oilers series, like you brought up, they allowed 6 goals in Game 1, and even in that 4th game, it was overtime. Keep that in mind, but they allowed 5 goals, only winning by 1. Of course, it was overtime. So, I think with the Avalanche, they're going to have to score a lot in this game or in this series if they're going to win. They're going to have to score a lot, and they're capable of doing that. They're definitely capable of doing it, but are of doing it against Andrei Vasilevskiy? Probably not. I don't think he's going to fold. I think he's going to do well. I mean, it's hard because it's the dynamic where you have, the best goalie versus probably the best offense, and so who's going to win the clash? I think it's the Lightning. Their defense, like you mentioned, is going to have to step up to provide support for the goaltending for Vasilevskiy, and I think for the Lightning, if they can take advantage early, I think with the Lightning, their key to success that I've kind of thought of is scoring early. I think if they can get an early lead, they're probably going to be fine. I think the games where maybe they allow sort of a power play goal or a goal that probably wasn't supposed to go in, that's where they might fall behind. But I think really for the Avalanche, they're a team that likes to score early. They're a team that usually comes out swinging. They're very high powered on offense. But for the Lightning, of course, we know that they've been clutch. It's been a lot of close games that have come down to the final minutes. Even going back to that Toronto series, and so I think if the Lightning maybe can prevent games from going that close and having to be kind of a showdown of the goalies and maybe even potentially going to overtime, I think if they can limit that and expose that defense that isn't amazing for the Avalanche, I think they're going to win. And I also think it's tough because you got to face guys like Cale Makar. You got to face Nathan McKinnon. There's plenty of talent on the Avalanche that can probably figure them out. But at the same time, I find it hard for me to sort of predict what's going to happen in this series. I think it's like I can't really say either team's going to win, and I think it's going to go to 6 or 7, like you said. I definitely agree. But one thing I just like about the Lightning more, and this is sort of just goes without saying, is the experience. The Avalanche don't have this experience as much. They're obviously a very experienced team when it comes to the playoffs, but the Stanley Cup final is a completely different stage. And the Lightning have performed very well. Now, this, like you said, this opponent is definitely harder. The Stars and Canadians were not what the Avalanche are, and the Avalanche are mad. They've wanted to come here for so long, it seems. And so, yeah, I think, like you said, it's definitely not any expectation that either team is going to win. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lightning won. I wouldn't be surprised if the Avalanche won. It's that kind of series where it's like either team could win it, and I'm going to be, completely, it'll make sense to me if either team wins. It's not going to be a surprise. I think, the Lightning, their experience is unmatched, but for the Avalanche, they're, proven to be a very, very successful team. Now in the playoffs, past couple of years, they've kind of choked a little bit in certain series, but I think this year they've, despite having the pretty easy route to the finals, in my opinion, they've shown that they're a very good team. So yeah, that's what I think about that. And I think those keys.
Yeah, absolutely. As a Lightning fan, the last couple of years, well, especially since the Columbus sweep in 2019. One of the ways that I kind of cope with the thought of being eliminated is through pessimism, and it's not like, good as a sports fan to be pessimistic about your own team, like, oh, I think we're gonna lose, like this and that, we suck. But like, it's to me, it's a lot better where if we lose, it's kind of like I expected it, rather than, oh wow, I'm heartbroken because I thought we were gonna do so good. And I was kind of that way this year in the first round against the Maple Leafs. I was like, wow, we've won back to back. We don't need to prove anything. Maple Leafs are amazing. We're gonna lose this series. We went in 7, and after that, I've just been completely. I cannot bet against my own team anymore. Like, I just can't do it. We've proven so many people wrong. They've proven me, an own fan, wrong several times. Like, I cannot bet against them anymore. And so that's why, like, I'm just riding this wave right now, and I'm just what I'm doing is I'm cherishing the moment. This is a historic hockey team we're seeing right here, and to be a fan of that historic team is incredible. And I know how that feels with the Warriors a couple of years ago, making four straight finals,
5.
5 straight finals. It's like, it's at some point you learn to like cherish it, because you're like, wow, this is really rare, and this just happens to be my team that's doing it. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm just going about it like, win or lose, we've won back to back. We're still witnessing greatness on the ice with this Tampa Bay Lightning team. Did you know they've made in the last 8 seasons, they've made it to the Eastern Conference Finals 6 of those 8 seasons? I mean, that's just
That's crazy.
That's unreal numbers. This is as close to a dynasty as we've seen in the salary cap era of National Hockey League hockey. It's remarkable. So, for the reason of me not being able to bet against my own team anymore because they've proven me wrong too many times, I have to say the Lightning are going to win this series. And I think the way the Lightning win it is, like I said, exposing the Colorado defense and netting some pucks. And another thing, we talk about injuries. Braden Point, mind you, the Lightning have been doing all of this without him. They've been doing all of this without Braden Point, one of the most electric players on the roster. They swept the President's Trophy winning Florida Panthers with no Braden Point. They won Game 7 in Toronto with no Braden Point. They won this series. They won 4 games in a row in the Eastern Conference Final after going down 2-0 without Braden Point. And it's just remarkable to me how we're doing this without one of our most electric players. Braden Point is expected to play tomorrow for Game 1. And if he doesn't play, he is almost a definite yes for Game 2. So he is going to be back in this series. We don't know how healthy he's going to be. We're probably going to get like a 70 or 80% Braden Point. But having Braden Point is better than no Braden Point. And so, the fact that we've just been doing all of this without him, it's remarkable. This whole team, this last 3 seasons, have been remarkable. It's greatness. It truly is.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I can totally relate to you. Like, at this point in your fandom, you've seen 2 cups. And so, part of you thinks like there's sort of an expectation that the Lightning are going to make it here, but part of you also thinks they've done so much already. And I can totally relate as a Warriors fan. Like, they went to 5 straight. They're back again right now and 1 away from winning it. So it's like, I sort of expect them to be good, but at the same time, if they lose, I'm not going to like fault them or anything. I think it's like the kind of thing that they've already proven they're great. And the Lightning, like you said, it's going to go down as a classic dynasty. It's going to be up there with the '80s Oilers and the
Islanders.
Islanders. Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue there. And so I think, like you said, that's literally the key to success. I sort of agree with you, even though I'm not a Lightning fan, that it's like you can't really count them out. Like, they've just had so much success. I just don't see how you could really do that at this point. But at the same time, I'm not going to go out and say, the Avalanche stand no chance because of the experience the Lightning have. But at this point, they've proved so much. And I just think, the success that the Lightning have showed on the ice with this gelled team, Like you said, Braden, they've done stuff with and without Braden Point, and I feel like him being out, it is, it's for the foreseeable future, but like it's not gonna. I feel like it's bad, but it's also not unbearable. It's not something that's probably going to define this series, his absence.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I think it's just, it's going to go down as a great finals, I think for sure. And just two great teams right now proving themselves.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. It's going to be a fantastic final for hockey fans. It's not going to be a fantastic final for my well-being.
Yeah.
It'll be very stressful, but this time last year I was like, wow, if the Lightning went back to back, I don't even think about 3. Like just throw that idea away. Like be content with
Yeah.
making the playoffs and going down quietly like the Penguins did after their back-to-back run. Just be content with that. And I came into this playoff thinking, damn, we've won back-to-back. We got nothing to prove. Probably lose to Toronto in the first round. And then that game 7, they just really showed that they're not done. They don't want to be done. They don't want to go down quietly. They still have fight in them to want to win again, and it's insane to me how they have that determination factor in the team. And like I said, they have run into so many teams these last 3 years with these storyline runs, these Cinderella runs. The Lightning don't give a shit about your Cinderella runs, your storylines. They don't care. They're going to keep winning. That's one of the things about this team that I love so much. It's like they don't care about what you're doing as a team. They're just being themselves, and they're continuing to win by themselves. And so, yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's remarkable, like I said, and it will be a great final in my opinion.
100%. Yeah. I just, it's so hard to like pick a winner. Like I'm leaning towards the Lightning because of their experience, but I also, I've known what happened. Like, the Warriors, when they played the Raptors, it's the same story. It's like the team with experience can get outsmarted sometimes, but the thing is, it's really comes down to, clutch moments. Overtime, I feel like is going to happen at least once in this series, and really capitalizing. That's really the big thing. And the Lightning have proven they could do that, and so have the Avalanche in the Stanley Cup playoffs so far. And so I think, yeah, it's gonna go as a great series. I mean, I think everyone's excited to watch. I think it's gonna be one of those finals that like is nationally popular. And yeah, I just can't wait to see it.
I can't either. Well, I'll ask you real quick. Well, I guess you already gave an answer. I was gonna make you take a prediction, but you said you could see it going either way. So I guess not. But if you all right, listen. You have to throw in $1,000 to Vegas betting. Who you put your money on?
I'm putting it on you guys. Honestly, I got Lightning. If I have to choose, I would go Lightning.
Fair enough. Well, that pretty much wraps things up here. Like it's one series preview, so it's not like we can go on for 3 hours talking about it. There's only so much, but yeah, it's been a hell of a playoff so far. Well, maybe not so much. As far as playoff hockey goes, I feel like it's been pretty lame. Entertainment wise, I feel like the past couple of years have been a lot better, but this, nothing like playoff hockey, as the saying goes, and so it's still really entertaining to watch for the sports fan. But yeah, so that I guess will wrap up this live stream. Good luck to the Warriors in the final. They're 1 win away. Lightning are 4 wins away from a third consecutive cup. Both of our teams here on the brink, and I'm hoping for the best for the both of us.
Yeah, likewise, man. Hope we both get it done. That would be so.
That'd be fantastic. All right, well, We'll catch ya in. God, is this our last stream? I guess I think this is our last stream for the playoffs. So, what does that mean? Does that mean we'll be back in October for baseball? I think that's what that means. Well,
yeah, guess so.
It's been a hell of a ride. It's been a fun couple of preview streams with you. For the viewers, I guess we'll see you in October for the baseball playoffs. But
if we both win, we could do the champs.
We could do a stream if we both win the championship. We could.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it for sure. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll
Yeah.
catch you in the next one, fellas, and have a great day, great night. Peace out.